The first one that I'm going to read is just in the middle of me explaining the day that I left my ex-husband. Um, okay, so I'm just going to start on page 220. My mother took my kids out of the car and told me to come on. I said, William told me to sit in this chair. I cannot move. At that moment, I was so gripped with fear that I felt that I had to submit, even though I heard his phone conversation and I knew he was about to kill me. I still felt like I had no choice but to sit there. But God sent my mother as my courage when I possessed none. She picked me up under my chest with both of her arms and carried me out to my brother's car. When we got in, my mother caught my brother up on what was going on. He assured us that I would be safe at his house and told us to go in and lock the door. My brother waited on the back porch of his triplex because William and his family were tailgating us and wound up right behind us by the time we pulled in. When William got to my brother's house, he had his play cousin and his girlfriend, his sisters, and his new girlfriend with him. All of them kept saying, "Where's Rosie at? Send her scary bleep out." The confusion in their dialect showed me that William concocted a story that painted me out to be the bad guy in this situation. I knew how ignorant his family was when they actually had factual information, so I could only imagine how ignorant they would be when they were all pumped up with lies, so I refused to go outside. William now had a gun in his hand, and he said, "Send my baby outside now, bro. F your sister. I just want Willow Amina, and I will go." The lie in that statement was he already had access to Willow Amina and still chose to rape me multiple times and beat me rather than taking her. He had no interest in doing anything besides using my baby as a pawn in his sick game. William was mad that he did not succeed in scaring me into allowing him back into my house. So mad that he called his family and made me the villain. So they were all mad at me and ready to fight for him. Not only that, but his mistress was ready to fight me too, and she literally had no reason to be mad. How desperate do you have to be to allow a man who left his wife for you to drag you all over town looking for her to kill her because she doesn't want him anymore? Nothing in that moment was making sense to me, yet the fact that I was in so deep, I had no choice but to live it out. My brother, being a man's man who never understands the female side of anything, decided that he would hand my daughter over to William, despite my pleading for him not to. When my brother opened his door, William tried to run past him, but my brother closed the door on him and said, "Hey, we're not doing that, William. I'll hand you your baby, but you're not getting in my house." The fact that William tried to bum rush him should have shown my brother that my assessment was accurate and he should have kept my baby in the house. Yet he did not catch on to any of that and he still passed my baby outside to William. I was now on the phone with 911 crying and pleading for them to hurry up because my baby was about to be taken and my ex was outside with his family trying to break into my brother's house, which was full of kids, with a gun to shoot me.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Author Interviews with Jazz and Prose. I'm your host, Sai. Today we are here with the beautiful Rosemary Simpson for her book, Faith, Family, Freedom. Okay, I love that. So how are you doing today, Rosemary?
I'm doing good. I just got off work actually. How you doing?
Okay, I'm good, but I follow you on Instagram. So I saw like you're a cosmetologist, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Okay, I love that. I love that. So yeah, I saw your book and I was like, oh my God, I have to have her on here. So I love to start with the cover of the book. So tell us, how did you come up with the cover for Faith, Family, Freedom?
So honestly, the cover of my book is something that God gave me in a dream before I even knew the name of my book. I just saw my face, battered and abused, and then I saw a mask because whenever I was in a toxic and abusive situation, nobody knew. So I always wore a mask. I was, still a mother, still a sister, still a daughter, still an employee, still running my own business, still doing all these things. But underneath, I was battered, abused, hurt, damaged. So the theater mask, because I went to school for theater, it just kind of is like a play on not necessarily words, because it's not words, but it's kind of like a play on my situation. Like, this is your poker face, and then this is what's actually going on underneath it.
Right. Okay. Well, guys, and this is a topic, I should have done the statistics. I didn't, but a lot of people experience this. So I'm glad that you came by today, and I'm glad that you were vulnerable enough to even write this book, because a lot of people don't like talking about it and things like that. So we definitely applaud you. So tell us a little bit before we get into what the book is about, just a little bit about yourself for the viewers out there.
Okay, I will, but also since you said something about statistics, I will say that one in every three women are in a domestic violence situation, and majority of them don't make it out. They actually are killed on their way out. So it's 1/3 of women.
Wow.
But so my name is Rosie, and I'm a mother. I have 5 children. My oldest is actually my 14-year-old nephew. I've been taking care of him since I was 18 myself, so we grew up together. And then I have a 7-year-old daughter with my ex-husband, and then I have 3 kids with my ex-boyfriend. Their ages are 6, 5, and 4. So I have 5 kids. I'm a cosmetologist. I went to school for theater and for hair. So those are the 2 things that I love to do. I'm actually in a sitcom right now, but I'm really just a creative. I love to do poetry. I love music. I love theater. I love to do hair. But outside of that, the main goal that I have for anything that I do is to spread God's love and to spread joy, because if it was not for my faith, if it was not for me actually getting a relationship with Jesus, I would not have made it out of anything that I was in. So I'm a disciple for Christ, and that's really me in a nutshell.
Yeah, so we love that. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, I also have 5 kids as well. So yeah, we're a big family gang.
Yeah.
We love that. And I love that. So theater, cosmetology, I love that as well. So when you were growing up, did you write a lot, or like when did you get into writing? Like
I've always had, like, I think my mom called it the gift of gab. I've always been able to talk. That's always been a thing for me. I've been told since I was a kid, you should write a book, or you talk too much, or I love how you explain that. Like, I've always been a talker. And then when it comes to writing, so I've been reading books since I was little. And I used to actually want to be an author when I was in elementary school. There was this book called The Giver, and I remember reading that book, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to write. Like, I've been wanting to write forever. I've been reading. I read, like, in elementary, my favorite books was Junie B. Jones. I was too young to be reading those because it was chapter books, but I would sit there and read the whole thing. Like, that's what I've always wanted to do. Being an author has always been a part of things that I've wanted to do. As I said, I'm a creative, so being creative is what I do. But being an author is definitely a big part of what I have always wanted to do.
Okay.
And was there another part to that question?
No, that was pretty much. I just wanted to get a feel for. I usually like to, when authors come on here, I like to know, like, is this a recent love, or is this something that you've always kind of been doing since you were, growing up and stuff? So
yeah, I've always loved writing.
So tell us about your book, okay, and what it's about, to give the people a little insight to faith, family, and freedom. Love that.
Okay, so my book, it's a pretty thick one. It's a thick one. So I'm just going to read the back of it for you, actually.
Okay, yeah.
It says, rarely does a novel highlight the crippling effects of childhood trauma manifested into a victim mentality that consumes the entirety of our livelihood. Faith, Family, Freedom, the RosieXperience not only gives you front row seats to the life of a Christian abuse survivor, single mother, entrepreneur, but it takes you on a roller coaster ride of emotional damage and tainted love, while giving you an inside look on how and why so many abuse victims fall into the same cycles time and time again. You owe it to yourself to indulge in this page turner to not only get a better understanding of the ways of narcissistic abuse, but also to gain some empathy for the ones you may have otherwise developed a preconceived notion about. One of the ways Rosie connects with her audience is sharing her testimony with the handle The RosieXperience via her social media platforms to assist the masses in overcoming obstacles. Rosie is ocular proof that changing your mind yields a positive change in your life. She is a small town woman born and raised in Wichita, Kansas, who relocated her children and her nephew to Kansas City, Missouri in 2021 to flee domestic violence at the hands of her second abuser. A few of her accolades are master stylist, podcaster, social media influencer, Christian poet, thespian, and author. Rosie has defied all of the societal boundaries that should have broken her, and she attributes her survival to the Most High God.
Okay, we love that. That's really good. And that, so many people, I have so many questions, but I'm trying to pace myself. Um, and unfortunately relate to this. And I guess I just want to know, like, when did you decide I'm going to write this book?
I always bring it back to God because it was never me. He told me to write this book. In 2021, I had broken ribs and a newborn baby and a 1, 2, and 3-year-old toddler. And my nephew at the time, he was 10, but he wasn't here with us yet. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I left everything, all my furniture, literally all of our clothes. I left everything and just put a couple bags in my van and drove out here, um, just with hopes of something bigger. And God kept telling me that I was going to write a book, but at this time I didn't understand how to tell that it was God's voice. I wasn't close to him. Um, so he had already been pushing it on me then, but then he kind of shifted it and told me to start posting on social media, which is when I changed my social media handles all to the RosieXperience and started to talk about domestic violence. And then that's when my social platform started to grow. But in July of 2023, so I had been here for 2 years, I actually got raped. And I'm like, okay, I gave my life to God. Um, I quit drinking, I quit smoking, not having sex with anyone. Like I literally wasn't even listening to anything but gospel music. I was literally like almost like the Pharisees with the way I was following God. It was just this,
Yeah.
this, this. I'm following every single thing. And then this happens. And I was taken aback. And I felt
Mhm.
like I felt like God had uh, slowed me down to show me something, because the way that the situation happened was crazy. It was a friend of the family, and so here in Kansas City, I have a couple of distant cousins, but nobody that I grew up with, and they're all older than
Yeah.
me, like 30 plus years older than me, and then one of them has 3 children that are around my age. So it was the friend of one of my cousins, distant cousins, and like I had seen him at multiple different family events, and I don't have any close family here, so I
Mhm.
thought that was a safe person because I saw him so many times. And on the 4th of July, he asked me to do his hair at like midnight, and I'm like, I'm not doing your hair at midnight. And it just kind of
Right.
turned into a conversation that just went left. So I tried to end
Yeah.
the conversation. Then he starts asking me to send him my location, and even though I had gave my life to God, even though I was following God, I realized that I still was scared. I was still
Mhm.
scared of men. I didn't think I was because I removed myself from the male species for so long that I
Yeah.
did not think that I still had that. But it's like
Mhm.
when I got cornered by a man, I did
Yeah.
exactly what he told me to do. He said, send me your location. I sent it, even though I felt uncomfortable. And when I sent it, he said, oh, I just want a hug. And then as soon as he got to my house, he did what he wanted to do. And I felt really bad about myself. And the person I confided in about it basically told me, well, you gave him your location, you did this, you did that. So, you know, yes, of course, the person was upset for me, but at the same time, the person was like, don't say anything to anyone because this is somebody that's been in the family for a while and it's going to look
Mhm.
bad because you gave him your information and he's saying that you wanted it. I mean, what rapist isn't going to say you wanted it? So, um,
Mhm.
it just after that happened, I was in a funk for a whole week, and I went to church, and the pastor started looking at me, and he was like, "I feel like somebody needs to hear this. Trouble don't last always." Then he started singing this song called "Trouble Don't Last
Mhm.
Always," and I busted out crying. And after church, he walked up to me and asked me what was going on, and I told him. And he looked at me and he said, "Rosemary, God wants you to fight." He was like, "You have been letting people do things to you your whole life." He said, "Fight." Um, I don't know what exactly that means for you, but you need to fight back. And after he said that, God was like, it's time to write your book. So That was in July of 2021. And I prayed about it, and I talked to a couple of people, letting them know, hey, I don't know what's going to go in the book, but I know your name's going to come up. Are you okay with that? And they said yes. And that's how I started with my book. And it was completely written by November. But I did pause for about 2 months because I had wrote a chapter that really broke me down, and I was like, I'm not finishing this book. But
Yeah, yeah.
it took me about 4 months to write it, but 2 of those months I was on hiatus.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, that's a lot. And that, it takes courage. So I definitely salute you to share your stories. And I'm assuming that, one of the reasons that you wrote it was to help other people, to show them,
Yes.
hey, other people experience this too. And I know your book is not so you talk about those experience. Well, I don't know if you talk about those experiences in here,
Yeah.
but okay. But I'm sure there's a part of the book where you talk about triumph and how
Yeah.
you overcame all of that
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah, and that's important to see as well. And that's, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I know that, especially when it's somebody close to the family,
Mhm.
I really loathe how people can really just, oh, well, don't say nothing, keep it hush. That is the problem. So I'm sorry
Mhm.
that you have people to stand up and say, no, do what's right. Because
Yeah.
the era that I'm in, the era that I'm in, just holistically, like in my whole life, is just holding people accountable. People need to be held
Yes.
accountable, or things will
Yes.
continue to happen if we want change.
Yes.
So that's
That's
the
yeah.
that's what, and I know you said there was a part of the book where you had to stop. That's actually a question that I ask people, just a general question that I ask, like, was there a part of the book where you felt like it was challenging to write? Maybe not emotionally, yes, in one way, but also just like organizing and formatting, and just, some people use a lot of figurative language, and that can take a lot of effort and time as well. So you say you did have a part like that, and you stopped for a couple of months, and then you started again. And then after
Mhm.
that, you said it took like what? So once you started writing again, how long did that period take to finish it?
Um, about a week.
Okay, wow. 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 That's so, and
I
is this your
sat
only book?
down a total of
Yeah.
10 times to write my book,
Yeah, that's a thick book. That's a
but I only
thick.
sat down 10 times to write it, and I did not write like a spreadsheet or anything, but I just
You
literally
just
turned
wrote
on some
it.
meditation music,
And you just
prayed,
wrote.
turned on my TikTok live, and let God work. He took me out of my body, and I watched certain things happen. So a lot of
Wow.
the things in the book, when you're reading it, you can see it like it's a movie, and it's not all about trauma. So I explain how from childhood, the music that we listen to, the shows that we watch, what our parents went through, all of those things help mold what we will and won't accept. I talk about all of that in detail. I talk about things that happened with my parents, things that happened at my grandma's house. Like, I talk about all those types of things, music that I listen to, all of that, and then show how that caused me to be okay with this, and that, and why I didn't catch on to this, and that. Like, um, yeah, it definitely is. It'll get you to think about yourself.
Right.
Everybody who's read this book that knows me personally has told me, like, I didn't even realize that I was dealing with an abusive person until I read your book, or I didn't even realize that I was like this until I read your book. Like, it really is like you're reading me look at a mirror, and you're looking at a mirror too. We're both
Right.
looking at a mirror.
Right. 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 Yeah, and that's, I think, now that we live in the day and age where we can share things quicker, easier. A
Hmm.
lot of people are relating, and it's exposing a lot of the, I guess, bad things that happen in life. But the good thing about that is that it's warning other people to be aware. So bringing that awareness. So I love that you did that. Now, in your writing process, I know you say you sit down, you put on meditation music. Are you typing, or are you writing with a pencil and paper?
So
Phone?
I had an iPad um, and a Bluetooth keyboard. And
Okay.
so the way this at my old house where I was staying when I did this, I set up my desk, and I set my iPad and my keypad on it. And then, like I said, turned on the meditation music and literally just prayed and let God work. So I never knew what I was going to write. When I sat down, I just started
Mhm.
typing, tears are flowing down my eyes, and I'm not here. Like I'm literally wherever I'm writing. I
Right.
I, I don't feel like I'm there at all. I feel like I'm
Mhm.
in a trance. When I come out of the trance, a couple chapters are written. That's literally how it went. I sat down a total of 10 times within 4 months and I had almost 500 pages.
Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's incredible. Um, when you wrote this, okay, did you go the traditionally published route or did you self-publish or hybrid?
Um, I self-published, but I spent thousands of dollars because I had never published anything before. So I paid this publishing company, and
Mhm.
I appreciate the owner of the publishing company because she taught me a lot of things I did not know. But if I would have known what I know now, I wouldn't have done it because with how much money I spent, I still wound up having to have someone else edit it again because you could tell they just AI edited it, changed a whole bunch of names
Mhm.
that weren't supposed to be changed, put
Yeah.
periods where they weren't supposed to be. So honestly, the editing of my book is not to my liking. So next time I publish a book, I'm going to edit it myself. And
Mhm.
then I'm going to AI edit it afterwards just to see if I missed anything. And then I'm going to
Mhm.
accept what I want to accept and deny what I want to deny because I spent thousands of dollars on getting my book published. And then I wound up getting it only on Barnes and Noble. It took me almost a year to get it on Amazon Prime just because I had to figure that part out myself, even though I paid someone else thousands of dollars to do that for me. So it was a learning experience. And I know what I'm going to do with my next book.
Well, good. That's what I was, one of the questions that I asked, but I think well, I will still ask you that question as well. And I know I have business owners, but this is not for business owners to authors. But so one piece of advice for a person who wants to write a book, but it's a vulnerable kind of, book, and they don't know, like, I don't know if I want to put this out for the world to see. What advice would you give to those people who are struggling with making that decision?
I actually have a few people that I have given
Mhm.
advice to who are now published authors.
Mhm.
What I say to them is, first of all, it's not about you. What
Mhm.
happened to you is never about you because it happened to you because God knew you were strong enough to get through it, and your testimony is going to pull other people out. There's no question to it. If you
Right.
use the boldness the Holy Spirit gave you, your testimony is going to pull other people out. So it's not about you. Don't worry about how people are going to view you. Don't worry about whether or not people are going to stop talking to you because you don't want fake people talking to you, anyways. If somebody is portrayed a certain way in your book because it's something that they honestly did, that's the truth. And don't allow the truth to be hidden under a bushel just so that you can save face with people who don't deserve to be around you, anyways.
Mhm.
That's the advice
Okay.
that I gave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. So let me go here. I feel like we're at our next slide, which is one second, our trivia. So we do have a little trivia question here.
Okay.
Okay. So this is author edition of Would You Rather. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna have you, Miss Rosemary, pick a number from 1 to 4.
3.
3. Okay, guys, if y'all already know, question number 3 is the hot question that everybody always chooses. So, okay, so it says, would you rather only write at 3 a.m. or only with a typewriter?
So the only reason why that's tricky is because I rarely sleep anyway, so neither would
Hmm.
bother me. But I probably say only write with a typewriter because I think typewriters are cool.
Okay, I love that. I think literally you may be like the third person out of like 30 something interviews that said a typewriter because everybody's so tech savvy now. But okay, I love it. And one girl actually pulled out a typewriter. I was like, oh my God, why do you have a typewriter right next to you? That was crazy. But okay, a
I saw that.
typewriter. You saw that? Yes. I'm like, girl. So what's next? Now you said you told us, we caught that when you were like, you know what to do next time. So what is next for you?
Um, so first with this book that I wrote, my goal has been to make it as either a movie or a sitcom. That is I have not found a publishing company to do that for me. I have found one, but it was kind of raunchy, so I pulled out. But I want to actually make this into something that is tangible for people because a lot of people don't read. It requires a lot of reading,
Yes,
but it's worth it. And I know people who haven't read since middle school who read that whole book, even though it's almost 500 pages. So if you actually start reading it, it's worth it. But for people who are scared to open it and read it, doing it as a movie or a sitcom would get the point across. But outside of getting the point across, it would show people themselves. It's kind of like what Tyler Perry does. So that, but then also with another book, I would like to write my next book. With the perspective of my children being older now, because when I wrote that book, all my kids were really little. In 2023, I think my youngest child was still 1. So my kids were really little when I wrote it. So I would write the perspective of my kids being a little bit older now. My business has grown a lot. I've been on a lot of podcasts since I started writing my book. I've done a lot. I actually have a conference coming up on October 18th for domestic violence. So I have so many things that I can pack into the book to show people that your life is not over. Even though 1/3 of women are in domestic violence situations and 75% get killed on their way out, you didn't die. And the fact that you didn't die means that there's still life for you. And the fact that you know that there's still life for you, there's no limit to where God can take you, what you can do. But you have to be ready for that, and you have to be a willing vessel. So also I went through a discipleship class with my church, and oh my gosh, the discipleship class that I was in really took me to another level with God. The books that I read in there, and just the closeness that I learned that I did not have with God, that I thought I had, that I didn't. The next book is definitely going to be discipleship on paper.
Wow. Okay. And so you said you have well, first of all, where can people find the book? Let's go ahead and tell
My website is RosieXperience.com. So that's RosieXperience. RosieXperience.com. You can actually purchase tickets to my conference, and you also can purchase my book, and you also can schedule a hair appointment with me. So you can do all of that on my website because I bought the domain.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Yeah. And the beauty shop is a place where a lot of conversations happen. So I can only imagine,
Yeah.
like when I get
I
to, yeah.
actually last week, I had a girl who found me on social media, scheduled an appointment with me, doesn't know that I'm a domestic violence survivor, but then she sees my flyer on my station, and she asked me about it. I tell her, and she starts crying, and she's like, I just left the situation in January. We have 3 kids. I don't know what to do. I don't have anybody to talk. And just starts bawling, telling me her whole life story. And I invited her to the conference, and I invited her to my church and to the Single Mom KC. And I just told her, it gets better. Just don't go back. No matter what he says, don't go back. And I gave her my phone number, and I told her that no matter what time of day it is, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, call me. The beauty salon is definitely the place where I disciple more than anything, because I'm there more than anywhere.
It is. Because I know when I sit in that chair, I feel like, because it's, first of all, you go to the beauty shop and you're going to be leaving like, oh my God, feeling amazing. And then so it's just like an all in one. I think people should do that, become like a therapist and do hair at the same time. That would be like so.
That's what we do. We're not licensed therapists, but that's what we do. I'm telling you, girl, I work in a salon. It's 15 of us women in there. And I'm telling you, the types of things that women tell us is stuff that they wouldn't even say to their husband. Like we talk, and they get better perspectives. They come back and give us praise reports. Like it's real.
Yeah, it's real. It is.
We're doing God's work.
Too. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a safe space. I think people see it as a safe space. I'm trusting you with my hair, first of all.
Yeah.
But there was something else I wanted to say. I can't remember. I'm gonna have all the links anyway, guys, like in the description for you guys to get the book. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Speaking of movies, so we're gonna have, I believe her name is Miss Brianna Cole. I know her first name is Brianna, but she writes movies for Tubi. So
Oh.
she's going to be on, I think this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely be on the lookout for that. I know that'll be a good interview for a lot of authors who are wanting to turn their books into something on film.
That's exactly
Um,
what I want to do.
yeah. So that's why I was like, when I found out, I was like, oh my God, I gotta interview her because I know that can help a lot of people. So be on the lookout for that. But you guys can definitely check out Faith, Family, Freedom, the Rosie Experience on her website. We'll have it linked in the description. And Ms. Rosemary, we thank you for stopping by. We thank you for being vulnerable and brave enough to write this story that's going to help so many people. Keep it up. We're so proud of you. And yeah, you're welcome back anytime.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Author Interviews with Jasmine Prose, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.